Podcast City.
Get on it.
Podcast City.
Get on.
That's right. We are on it. That is for sure. The second episode of the sequel to episode 1, which was very well received, fellas. Over 4,000 views in less than a week.
Wow.
Okay? And these aren't boosted posts. These are organic views. Okay? So tremendously well received. But tonight we are here for episode 2 of Black and White and What is Right. And I'm not saying it's that simple, but it's got to be this way. Okay? I never thought that the coronavirus, one of the biggest threats to our history, would get bumped off the news and the TV as the lead, as the majority of the real estate for an hour worth of TV program is actually 48 minutes of content. And the march for social justice, the protesting for social justice, the police reform for social justice, dominating the news, okay, over the coronavirus. I never thought that would happen. But let's be honest, guys, and I say this from the bottom of my soul, and it's a pit in my stomach, and it makes me sick. But I'm going to tell you something right now. To the future of this country and its prosperity and life as we know it, lack of social justice is a far bigger threat than the corona.
Amen.
Do you agree?
I agree.
Do you agree?
Agree.
We said it before. We're gonna rot from within if we don't take care of this stuff right now. If there's not hard lessons learned, if there's not tough pills to swallow, is there not an abrupt face, okay, in how we police. And make no mistake about it. Let me be perfectly clear to you. I do not believe in defunding the police. That is an overreaction to a problem. And that's usually when your worst laws are made. The draconian drug laws after Lenny Bias. People get emotional and they want to go to that bridge too far. Okay? But can we reorganize, reshuffle, train a different way? Absolutely. But defunding the police department, no. Because let's face it, okay? This has been going on for too long. Okay? The current system, take the race out of it. Okay? The policing and how they police, whether it's stop and frisk, whether it's out after dark, whether it's DWB, whether it's being from an urban environment in a suburban town that is around it, and now you have your socioeconomic injustice. Something's got to change. Everybody has to be treated the same way. In theory. Now that's like, you're not going to treat a grandma like you would, treat Ivan Drago if he was in a car. You know what I mean? So it works out in the books, but it has to be changed. I heard the New York police commissioner, who a lot of people are suspect about, but he said, welcome to policing 21st century style. Reassigning all of the undercover squad, the elite undercover squad, reassigning them to community policing, reassigning them to different things, okay? And these guys were supposed to be the best, but at times most brutal in the country. If you wanted a crime solved, the New York PD detectives were going to get it solved one way or the other. And they make mistakes like everybody else does. Too many of them. High profile. So he said 21st century policing isn't going to be about running up on cars and running up on this and smashing around and all of that. 21st century policing is going to be intelligence. It's going to be collecting data. It's going to be DNA. It's going to be shot spotter. It's going to be video. It's going to be social media. That's what they're going to.
De-escalation.
De-escalation. Yes. We're going to talk about what happened in Atlanta afterwards. I thought those police were doing a decent job of de-escalating until, boom, it went bad. But back to what you're saying. 21st century police, Pete, talk about it. 20 years in law enforcement. Tell me what it means to you.
What it means to me is like every day is a new day to learn something. It really
Amen,
is.
brother.
It
Amen.
really is.
Amen. You hear that? You hear that? You hear that, people out there? Every day is a good day to learn something. Listen to these old school folks. They got a lot of sense. Every day is a good day to learn something. That's the message of the day. You're welcome.
Yes, and I just like to say that me growing up in a law enforcement family, and I have a lot of law enforcement people in my family. It's not always what you got taught 20 years ago.
No,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course.
You gotta. They have to have somebody come in. We have a we have to be retrained and
sure.
But we do the same thing over and over again. Every year you do the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
There's nobody that comes in and they teach you instead how to diffuse a situation.
Sure.
They don't teach you how to deal with certain ethnics.
Yeah, sure.
And race.
Certain ethnicities react, and I learned this in my training for a social worker. React, and I said this to you today, Keith. React to body language differently. Relax,
Exactly.
like for example, Asians do not like to be touched on top of their head. It's an insult.
Absolutely.
To their culture.
Yes.
Spanish, Puerto Rican, Caribbean, Spanish, Puerto Rican, Dominican react to people blowing out of their mouth, people's gestures, smacking their lips, blah, blah, blah. You taught that. Now, as a social worker, you taught this. Black people being very sensitive about their hair. Who knows if this is, I've seen it with the Asians, and I've seen it with the Spanish. Okay, I haven't, not really seen, but they list out like things that other people would react to. Like some people react to space differently. Some people, it's and to learn that if it's culturally embedded in them,
right?
We need to be aware of it.
We do need to be aware of it, and in the black community, it's always that word, you people.
Yeah.
What do you mean, we people?
Yeah.
I'm just like you people.
Yeah.
If you keep saying you people,
Sure.
It's just little things. It's just the little things that people aren't aware that, and all this stuff is taught. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like, hey, we wake up as a little child, we're playing in the sandbox together, and then all of a sudden we develop.
Well, that was one of the topics of the shows, Peter. Why do we hate? That's a learned behavior, right?
It's a learned behavior. It definitely is.
Yeah.
It definitely
Study
is.
after study has said that.
It's
Keith, talk about that a
It's
little bit.
absolutely taught. And each generation, I feel we've gotten less prejudice than the generation before.
I believe
the
that
thing
to be
is,
true.
we can't until we're at zero. We're never going to.
Well, we're never going to be.
Exactly.
We're never going
gonna
to be a zero.
But
There is no perfect out there, people. You're chasing that magic perfect. I need to talk the right way. I cannot offend anybody anymore. Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't work that way. You have cops. 100% of them are going to be perfect. You get the teachers. 100% of them are not going to be perfect. Get the attorneys and the judges and everything else. They're not going to be perfect. And the ratio per occupation doesn't usually vary too much.
right.
If you're a creep, you're a creep. Or if you get something wrong with you, you get something wrong with you. Whether you got $1 million in the bank or not. Now, being broken, that's just may exasperate it. But, I mean, no industry is perfect. We're never going to have the perfect police department. Like, we're never going to have the perfect government. And we're never going to have perfect. But, without it, we're fucked.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
Let's keep it real.
Right.
Let's keep it real. Do the police need to make some serious changes in philosophies and get rid of that that blue line that we talked about? That has got to go. That not nearly as dangerous, but along the ridiculous lines of hazing in fraternities.
Right.
Do you understand?
Right. I
Do
understand.
you understand that analogy? Is that a bridge too far?
No, it's not a bridge too far because when I was in law enforcement, it was us against them.
Sure.
It was always the thin blue line.
Yeah.
And that's what it was.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It was like you were taught that,
Yeah.
just like people are taught racism. You were taught that to differentiate between, hey, that might be your brother,
Yeah.
but we're your brother.
Yeah.
When you're wearing this uniform.
That's a reach for me. That's a reach for me.
Oh yeah.
I know.
Oh yeah.
That's a reach for me.
I understand, but I mean,
I use that brother as a strong, strong word. I have a very unique relationship with my brother. There's only two of us. And teammates that I played war to war with playing ball, for 15 years of my life, starting as 5, 6 year old. That does it have to be that way?
our police union was the Brotherhood of Police.
Sure, yeah, no, I hear you, okay.
You know,
okay, yeah, no, I hear
it
you.
was considered.
It does,
you know,
yeah, the Brotherhood of
of
okay. So that's the oath that you take,
Yes.
like the
you do.
mafia.
You do.
More important than your mother or your brother calling you.
You know.
It's there.
It's there.
Sure.
It's there. I mean,
Sure.
and a lot of people think that way. You know, I had saw something on Facebook
What?
that one of the police chiefs,
Yeah.
a well-liked police chief, married to a Cape Verdean girl,
Yeah.
he would not take a knee because he thought it would be offensive to his brothers in blue.
I get that. I understand that. Not hurting somebody's feeling or not offending people that are close to you is an important virtue, right?
True.
I mean, we got to get along. You know what I mean? But where does it stop being about that?
Right. I can understand
You know what I
that,
mean?
but then are you really offending somebody if you're kneeling down for justice? I mean, you're supposed to be the chief justice person.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
We're not talking about whether it's right or wrong.
Right.
I'm saying it's understandable that he would feel that way. You know what I mean? Now, would that be the decision I make? No. You know, I would do what I would think would be right. You know what I mean? And I'll try to convince more to do so. But I understand that pressure.
I understand the pressure also.
In a
but
rank and file.
I just,
you know.
I understand the pressure, but I mean, in this day and age, if bending the knee means that your community, you're supporting your community, which is the town that I lived in was a very, it's probably half and half.
Yeah.
You know, mixed.
How did race relations? How was it with him? Did it work seamlessly? From my people from where I know nobody in your families.
I grew up at times, certain times in my life where there was like racial epithets and stuff, not really directed at me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna tell you, Mike.
Yeah.
I mean, it was directed at my brother who was a lot darker than me.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't get those racial epithets because I was the jock.
Sure.
I was the superstar, whatever
course,
you want.
yeah.
What do you call it? Nobody wants to call the jock out and say,
Yeah.
say,
No, I hear
hey,
you. No, I hear you.
and stuff like that.
Keep it real, keep
Listen,
it real, Pete.
But
Yes,
but
yes.
I tell you, I was invited to a party one day. I went to some of my friends, you know, that were on the football team and different things, and you know, I walked. I actually was late because you know just meeting somebody and everything.
sure.
I was late.
You're running from the girls. That's why you were late.
My brother shows up at the party before me, just about 5 minutes before me.
Can't get in.
He can't get in. They says you can't get in, right? You can't get in and stuff. They said a couple other things. I come to the door. I knock on the door. My brother's behind me, and they say, "Hey, Pete, what's up?" They hug me and shake my hands. Come on in. And then my brother comes in behind me, and you know, everything gets quiet. You know, so I'm like, if my brother's not welcome here, then I'm gone. That's it. I walked right out.
That's what's up.
You know, and these are my. I mean, these guys were the ones that these guys that I thought were my compadre.
Did anybody say if Pete's leaving, I'm leaving too?
No.
That sucks.
No, I don't believe so, but I don't believe anybody left. I know that people voiced their opinions. There were some people that said that's not cool, you know, things like that.
But none of them are in the Hall of Fame, so. I'd rather have one Hall of Famer than 20 Heisman. You feel me? You feel me? I got you. Keith, we're talking about taking a knee. He went to a Black Lives Matters protest in, of all places, Swansea, Massachusetts. The last time you cats from Swansea had a protest, you were burning Patriots jerseys.
Correct.
For the record. So, I don't know what's going down in Swansea. Why don't you tell me? And you said you took a knee, and you realized... Again, go, give it to me.
Okay, it was organized by two people from UMass. One was a Swansea resident, and was also a teacher in Fall River who grew up a black woman, grew up in New York, and now she's down here, and this is the fifth one she's been to. And it's funny, you mentioned how the chief of police, who's married to a Cape Verde, George Arruda, the chief of police in Swansea, he took the knee with us. He spoke for a good 5 minutes and said, "You see this, speak up. This is not what's taught by me. This is not behavior we." But at one point, they had us get down, take the knee, and as she's talking, she says, "Can you feel the pressure? Imagine the pressure George Floyd must have felt." And she says, "Oh, we've only been at it 2 minutes and 10 seconds, and we did the full 8 minutes and 46 seconds."
Oh my God!
That needs to go viral, because I think that will be a lesson after the video. And kneel on your knee for 9 minutes and feel the pressure you're putting on your knee. And that was on somebody's neck who was not resisting. The shooting in Atlanta is not as clear as the George Floyd situation. Would you agree with that? That there may be a little, I don't think there may be a little gray area there.
It's not as clear, but I mean, the term use of force, use of deadly force,
Sure.
is really really what's at hand right here. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I mean, the guy is, first of all, like I was telling Eric.
Yeah.
Okay. You pretty much have him in custody because one, you have his identification.
Sure.
You know who he is.
You gotta let him go.
You know who he
of
is.
course.
You know every where he lives.
Sure.
You got all this information.
Yeah.
If he runs, yes, he resisted arrest, but we can pick him up at a later time.
And you can charge him with running from the police and the other charges.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
Now, everybody's saying, "Oh, he turned, and he fired taser."
Yes.
Okay. Is a taser a deadly weapon? No, it's not. It can be.
But in the moment, though, in a moment, I could see the knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
I don't think it's right.
Yeah.
You know, and it's an ultimate punishment for what was a minimal type crime when it happens. But when it takes possession of a gun, I think that's where it gets gray.
The person did not. The suspect did not get shot in the torso.
I know,
in
get
the
shot in the
front
back.
torso.
Sure.
He got shot in the back.
And they're trained that is a no-no, right?
It's a no-no.
Okay.
Now, you're trained. You're training. If somebody is within 15 feet and coming towards you, that's when your light goes on.
Okay, I got
10
you.
feet.
Okay.
You know, you're trained. 5 feet, bang, bang.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because he's coming towards you. He's gaining.
Sure.
When he's running away from you,
You're not
the
gonna
threat-
trip and fall back.
No.
You're not gonna be like, I hear you. It's an imminent threat.
That's what it is, an imminent threat.
Yeah.
The imminent threat is 15 feet
Sure.
coming towards you. You are taught that from day one of the academy. Day one. 15 feet in closing.
Sure. Sure.
It doesn't say 15 feet and running away.
Keith, we watched the video before we came on, okay? There's short versions, there's long versions. Let's talk about it.
He's in the beginning.
Yeah.
He's blocking the drive-through to Wendy's. They tell him, "Excuse me."
Got a buzz on. He passed out.
He's passed out.
Yeah, he's not the first one to do
Yeah.
it, but is he probably drinking? Yeah. Okay.
They tell him to move over, so he goes and parks.
Sure.
They were with him a good 30 minutes.
Sure.
Asking him questions. Where have you been? I mean, he was clearly inebriated. He didn't know, like he's.
I don't know about clearly. I know he had a buzz on. Inebriated would be, I think, a little strong.
Okay.
All right. Do you agree or no? You think, I mean...
I don't think he was inebriated because the reason
I
why
thought they
he
had
was-
a healthy
he was-
conversation
he
for a
was-
little
He
while.
was answering the questions.
He was. Yeah, University Avenue,
yes,
sure.
And he was understanding
Yeah.
what they were...
Okay.
were-
All right, go ahead.
And it's okay. And that, like he didn't really have. Couldn't give him a straight answer where he had been, where he was coming from. He said, "Oh, I'm going to meet my girl at the hotel. Which one? Oh, I don't know. I don't know where it is. I mean,
He might not.
and too many drinks you can make you forget. But
Let
everything.
me tell you something. I've had a lot of drinks in my life. I never forget the hotel I was going to get laid in. I'll tell you that right now. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, I don't know. Well, I probably shouldn't be talking like that, but... I mean, if you're going to meet you somewhere at the end of in the beginning of the night, I might have wanted to forget. At the end of the night, I'm going to know. Milton?
That's what's next on the agenda. I'm not stopping at Wendy's. I'm going straight there.
Yeah, I hear you.
And at the end of the tape, and we watched it twice just to make sure we heard what we heard. When they finally are about to place him under arrest, and I played it twice to make sure, it sure as shit sounds like he's saying, "Put your hands behind your back, boy." And
He does
and
say
he didn't
boy.
say it the way we're accustomed to seeing it in Mississippi Burning, but he said it was so cavalier. That means he's obviously done it many times.
Yes.
Many other
During these times, Keith, you can't use that word anymore.
and it's on
man.
a body cam. He
Listen,
didn't get
look.
caught by somebody with a camera.
Yeah.
It was on the
And
own body cam.
I've been to Atlanta 3 times, and the 3 times I've been there, I've been reminded. Please don't do anything suspect or wrong, or don't even go over the speed limit. I said, "What do you mean? Why?" And everything. You're in Stone Mountain country.
Oh, Stone Mountain,
You're in
yeah.
Stone Mountain is a stone throw away from Atlanta. You know what I mean?
And this is why we are the divided states of America. Okay? Because you have Atlanta, which experienced an economic boom triggered by young black entrepreneurs and people going down there and working at the Olympics and doing all that stuff. I was in Charlotte, North Carolina. Atlanta was popping.
Oh yeah.
Freaknik, college parties, Buckhead, you know what I mean? The Braves. I mean, it was popping all. It was a fucking big
It
time.
still is.
Yeah.
Still is. It's big time.
The underground. I mean, you on and on and on. But yet, go to Stone Mountain, Georgia, or Cobb County, Georgia. You know, them boys don't play down there. I went to Charlotte, North Carolina, and there was still a percentage, but a small percentage, that would look at me and say, "Yankee." I'm like, "Come on, cuz. This what's going on fucking 100 years ago." I don't know how many it was.
You also think about it.
But they're still doing it. That's why it's so learned. You know what I mean? Like how the hell are we gonna get the cops in Cobb County, Georgia, to act right? I mean, we're going. That is an uphill battle, Jack.
It is an uphill battle, and especially if when you're being cuffed, somebody's calling you boy. I just don't. You know what I mean?
Talk like that.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
And especially for
And
a person.
that's not political correctness either. Let's go. You know, let's be real here. That's not political correctness. Boy is like exactly what Keith said. Saying it so comfortably is just under the layer.
Because you're trying to get a reaction out of somebody. You know what I mean? I honestly think, listen, if somebody sat there and maybe not me, but if I have family that lives down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And they tell me all the time that, racism is rampant down there, in the South. But it's
In Atlanta, is it rampant in Atlanta?
not so much in Atlanta, because Atlanta is,
Brown town.
yeah.
Yeah.
But on
Atlanta, Baltimore,
outskirts-
D.C., Houston, I would consider brown towns where
Right.
blacks of all rungs of the socioeconomic class live. It's the clerks, the police, the hospitals. It is a brown. It is a brown town. The mayors,
That's where I was going. The elected officials.
Sure. Yeah.
But the thing is, look. I mean, even if you were here in Fall River, somebody was cuffing you, and he said something derogatory that was derogatory to you, you probably would be like a little jumpy or wouldn't appreciate it. Yeah. And there's some places like down south and different places to where, hey, when somebody says boy to you or they say a different word, that means that they're gonna string you up or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean you can't talk like that. And you really can't talk like that in Atlanta, Georgia. Right. And you can't talk about that in Mississippi. All right, you can't talk about anywhere. But in these places, you're going to be hypersensitive to that. Because come over here, boy, 40 years ago was a drive through the woods.
Right.
And you may never see your family again.
And
as a young man, he's probably sitting at the knee of a grandfather and a father or somebody else or a grandmother that's talked about what they did to us and who they call boy and they put him in the car.
Absolutely. And don't tell me that they don't tell their kids what happens.
Fall one, time to run, boy. Time to worry.
Like I said, and touch on it one more time and move on. He said that when he got caught on video saying that wasn't somebody 10 feet away with a cell phone camera. That was the body cam issued by the Atlanta police.
Sure, and then that takes us back to the 21st century policing, right?
It does. I just don't understand. Here I am, right? Say if I was back in my uniform.
Sure.
Okay, all this stuff on the TV about George Floyd and all the other outrageous things that are happening, because there was the guy Arbery just before that.
Sure.
And so
the jogger.
Yeah, the jogger. Sure. Why don't you check yourself? You know what I mean? Because
like he said, it's in him.
Yeah,
you can check it, but water's going to find its way.
Right. I mean,
just like he said.
Yeah, that's taught. It's generational. Every generation is less prejudiced than the
How
one
he
before.
said it so easily.
But until we get to a zero-sum game, which nothing's ever going to be perfect, we still have a long way to go until we get to nothing.
We talked about with cops before that there has to be, or I don't say has to be anything. There should be some social work, foster home work, coaching, teaching, youth mentoring, boys club, YMCA, CYO, some type of 2 to 3 year commitment doing that type of stuff as a prerequisite to become police.
Right. I think that's a good idea.
I think they can learn the basics of communication with all types and all kinds.
Also, I think we need to, just like everybody, community policing is very important.
Sure.
And policing through our leaders in our community to voice certain disparities and stuff about certain officers should come to the forefront of the police chiefs. Because if you're doing community policing and you're going to African American community and you're a bad cop, a racist cop, it's gonna show. It's definitely gonna show. Yeah. And that's where when you have your 1 year, every year you have your 1 year review, and if you were written up on that, like some of these guys have been written up 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Wow. And nothing's happened to them.
Well, speaking of that, states around the country are calling for published list of disciplined officers. That's heavy.
Right.
That's heavy. Not any claim is going to be true. The judicial system is not perfect, and I'm sure the police review system isn't perfect. If you get arrested for picking up a prostitute, or you get arrested for your picture is going to be in the paper. They're going to embarrass you, if you're accused for lying on a report, which we all agree is a more serious crime, I believe, or something else of that severity, should it be made public? I don't know. That is a very, like, taking a cap off of that. You know, I'm not so sure. We have to trust, like, the third level of command within our departments to really, when I talk to police officers, they're like, listen, they mold their way as they're led.
Right.
If their chief is a bang them out, bare knuckle, kick the door and let's let them know we're here, they're going to respect us type of, police captain or chief, then the men are going to follow. I don't know anything about law enforcement. I've never been in it.
Well, there are people going to follow him. I think all police officers and law enforcement guys are going to follow him to a certain extent.
Yeah.
There's sometimes to where you sit back and you say, I don't want to be part of this.
Sure.
But they pay your paycheck.
Yeah.
They tell you what to do.
Yeah.
You don't want to go and you want to do the stuff that is
Sure.
that you're supposed to do,
Sure.
but you just do it because that's your job.
Yeah, and your kid wants Air Jordans, and you want to get your mortgage paid, and you're hoping to get a pool in 2 years, and you're trying to do the right thing. So walking, yeah.
What I don't understand, Mike, is we have a rule. There's a rule, if you're on a chase, and the chase becomes too dangerous for the public,
in
you
automobiles,
stop.
yeah.
Now, why can't they do that?
On foot. There you go. Peter, you're onto something, I think, brother.
Same
you're
thing.
On,
De-escalation.
Sure, de-escalation, absolutely.
It needs to be taught
a
lot more.
It needs to be second nature, like that cop saying, boy. So it might take 3 or 4 generations, but we got to get there.
Right.
We got to get to say, hey, at the end of the day, let's start off as a drunk driving charge. A guy sleeping, not driving 90 miles an hour. Did it get funky with the gun? Absolutely. But like you said, you can always go back and get him. They never had a problem finding me. They're gonna get you. They got you. They got you. Turn on TV. There's 100 shows about them coming to your house and finding you if they want you bad enough.
Right.
Right. Watch First 48. Watch National Border Patrol. Watch U.S. Marshals.
You can watch anything.
They're gonna come and get you. Keith, let's talk about policing. What type of changes would you like to see made?
Well, first of all, they should have to do more training, hands-on, like coaching, like maybe a certain degree, maybe a bachelor's, associate's degree in sociology or something like that, or coaching. They need more hands-on dealing with regular people before they're given the gun and the badge and sent off. And one thing that I thought of what we were talking about, how many police officers are hired, combat veterans already with who already have PTSD from one job.
But I think being in the military would make you better with race.
Would
you agree with that, Peter, or no? You got all kinds of military men.
Listen. Yeah. I had an instance where my military friends that were still good friends to me, good friends of mine, who disappointed me, who really disappointed me, and there's a mixed culture in the military, as you know.
Yeah.
But they
when the bullets are flying, are you worried about who's black and white, or is it when it's downtime?
No, when it's downtime. Sure. This was downtime. This was drinking time. And some very racist stuff was said amongst the boys.
Can you be a friend of a guy you know is inherently racist who, as a teammate, you respect and goes balls out and is unselfish? Or a guy that you both were getting shot at and you guys were there for another, could you still be friends with him?
I can be acquaintance with
him. That's great.
Maybe not friends. Yeah. Maybe not friends. I can be acquaintance because we're both in it. I mean, we
got a long way to go before we purge this of racism.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I had friends. I would tell them if words they were using that wasn't acceptable around me. I got jumped, by 4 brothers who were neighbors of mine. They were all Portuguese. And this is when the Portuguese, migration of joining migration four is intense. And they beat the shit out of me. And one of them was 19 years old. I was probably 10.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
They gave it to me. And I go down and I got a black eye. And he's like, what happened to you? And I said, the green horse from up the street jumped me. My father smacked me right off the table. Said, what'd you say? My father grew up in Division Street. His family was from Alabama. They didn't understand him because he was barely speaking English. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the Portuguese community, that's how he was raised. All of his friends was down on Division Street, Portuguese American Club. But words like boy, and it's up and that inherent prejudice that's there are dangerous, and it's going to take some time to go. Are we doing a good job of it? Yes. Are our police departments behind the curve a little bit? I think they are. I think that they are. My cousin Tim, his father was extremely wealthy, bank president of, remember Old Stole Bank in Providence?
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. He had an unbelievable resume. Mm-hmm. Right. He was captain, I think, of the Dartmouth baseball team. 3-sport athlete in high school, great athlete, all-state. His brother Todd played for the Paw Sox, maybe the All-Star game internationally a handful of times. Their mother was from a very wealthy family in Connecticut, one of the first Pilgrim families, big, lots of money, lots of, way in life. And he was fluent in Mandarin or Cantonese. He was fluent in one of the stuff and also was fluent in Japanese as well. Okay, so that was like his minor or something. And he's a graduate from Dartmouth High School. He's 6'3", rough and ready, okay? And just because he grew up with just because his parents had a lot of money, he did not grow up with a silver spoon in his mouth. He wasn't walking around with his pockets full of money. My Uncle Charlie wasn't about that, okay? You know what the FBI told him? They denied him his application. He works for them now, all right? But you know what they said to him? We want you to substitute teach in an urban school environment and come back and see us. And he did, and now he's eventually in the FBI. This is probably 20 years ago. Let me see. Yeah, this is over 20 years ago. That's what the FBI told him to substitute teach. I remember my aunt telling me that story, and I was like, what? You don't really get it then, but you get it now. And this is the best of us,
right? And
with that type of that. So
why not have
some of that vision's been there,
right?
You know what I mean? Now, does it get to the proper rung of leadership, and does it go? You don't really hear as much racial shit from feds, though, do you?
No. I don't think they really put up with that because they have to deal with a lot of communities.
Yeah, and they have to deal with the lawyers in their office.
Right.
Right.
I mean, who knows?
The crash unit for the feds, but like the people in charge have to walk probably a much more scrutinized,
Right. I believe so.
Because the feds have been ahead of the states usually, with this stuff. I mean, you want to talk about progress? The LGBTQ community had a huge win in Supreme Court today.
Yes, they did.
Huge win. Now that's progress. Brown versus Board of Education, Mississippi, all of the race stuff. That was mandated by the feds. They're usually ahead of this.
And one of the judges that ruled in there, Gorsuch, he was the Hobby Lobby lawyer for the corporation that basically got to lobby that, they were a religious organization that got him the exemption with providing health care and abortion. Yeah. So
that's, So, I mean, is that where change is at? Who or what are going to bring us change? That's one of the topics of the show. Who or what is going to bring change? Keith?
I mean, leadership starts at the top, and sometimes, because the outcome of an election doesn't change anything simply because for everybody who wins, there's people who are against them. But the person at the top, sometimes it all starts with something as simple as a speech asking people to come together, which we are not getting right now.
Or a moment of silence. So you think that's it?
I think it does start at the top. I mean, I think that if our president that he is our president
Sure.
of this United States, would just have some empathy and make a speech. I don't care if you're down in Tulsa and you have your crowd of your Republican and conservatives and stuff, your
Yeah.
over there. Say something, do something. Make it about everybody, not just a certain few.
Sure, our leaders cannot be divisive. And that's essentially what the military leaders have called Trump out for. You can be Trump's biggest supporter, but if you're Trump's biggest supporter, more than likely, you're not real comfortable without a divided.
No.
You know what I mean? You're not voting for him because he's going to unite us. You know what I mean? I don't think. He might have had a brief little run with that with Drain the Swamp, but we saw what happened. But he's not trying, I don't think his ardent supporters or his think tank or his political arguments will say that he's trying to unite us. Could a cataclysmic event, could a big earthquake, could a big flood, could the Chinese blowing up the Golden Gate Bridge, is there anything big enough for us, for the divided states of America, the white boys in Cobb County, the brothers in Harlem, the Serenos in San Diego and South Central, and the Norteños in Fresno, okay? Can the white militia, whack jobs, and the Black Panthers of Michigan in Detroit, could they come together to fight a united war against a international army?
Mike, I was hoping that would happen, and it did.
We've been hoping it's going to happen for a long time.
And it did happen for a short minute.
Yeah.
9/11.
Sure, it did.
It did happen in 9/11.
That's in my notes,
It
man.
did happen.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
did
We
happen
forgot about all
for
those.
a quick minute. Everybody was united.
Sure.
Everybody was united under one flag at that time.
Because the blood spilt on the battlegrounds are from brown, white, black, yellow, orange people. The blood lost on 9/11 were black, brown, white, and yellow people.
And we all
Okay.
bled red.
And and they all died the same way. And they all died because they were Americans.
Absolutely.
They didn't give a fuck if they were Muslims or Catholics or Protestants. They didn't give a fuck if they were from Bensonhurst or Bed-Stuy. They didn't give a fuck if they were rich or poor. They came out because they were Americans. And at the end of the day, we are all Americans.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, for the good and the bad. Sometimes I cringe and get sick. But I go to bed every day knowing I'm going to sleep in the best country in the world with liberties and freedoms that most would die for. Okay? But every good thing needs to be changed and tweaked. Everything needs a tune-up. Everything needs, a douching, a flossing, a get rid of you. The steam room of, and start doing some things that are differently.
Yeah, it's too many.
Know what I liked? What was different? You got it, Keith. Go ahead.
Yeah. Too many people in this country have this mentality of my country right or wrong. Yeah, it is our country right or wrong. And when it's wrong, we need to make it right. And there's too many people who just don't go past my country right or wrong, and they don't want to hear.
But nothing is perfect. That phone with more technology that took the first astronaut into space, okay, that's not right all the time. I'm not right all the time.
No.
Cops aren't going to be right all the time. We got when the imperfections and the ugliness surfaces, we have to do a better job of handling it. People have to come together. Look with the protests, okay? We're not seeing the looting as much. We're not seeing the violence as much.
No.
Okay? Thank God that the protesters got their message back from them, because the rioters and looters were changing the narrative. And people say, well, you tell me one thing that's ever been changed without violence in this country. And there is some truth to that. But in a battle for perception, in an election year when people are paying attention the most, those scenes of rioting and looters takes, at the very least, but the very most important, takes time away from the real protesters, and it dulls their effectiveness. People are getting dismissive and they do it. So the right people have to be heard. Have to be heard. You know. And we talked about different things. You know what I thought was one of the coolest stories that I've seen in a long, long time? Hundreds of surfers in Coney Island, New York, or someplace in Brooklyn, New York, Rockaway Beach. In Rockaway Beach in New York, Far Rock in the house. Had some friends out there. Like 1,000 surfers came together in a protest for social justice and Black Lives Matter. I thought that's pretty cool.
I think a lot of different. Listen, you guys haven't seen nothing yet. I'm telling you right now, you haven't seen nothing
Really?
yet. You know the reason why? Because you and me are big sports fans. Nothing has started.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Kyrie Irving today. Let me ask you a question. Out of the percentage of problems in the back neighborhood, and they are many, as you know, you can't expect a race to be equal when one gets a 80-year head start or whatever it was. You know, with all that being said, what I ask you as a black person of law enforcement, okay, in the neighborhood, what percent of the problems in African American communities is a result of white oppression? Like, what are they? What should they own and what should they don't own? Like black on black crime.
Honestly,
Yeah, talk to
I'm
me.
just going to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's the only way we do it around here.
I'm not black enough, to be honest.
Yeah.
I come from a Cape Verdean family. We never had like where I come.
But you've experienced it.
Yeah,
And you lived in California a little bit.
Yeah, I lived in California, but you know, I can walk down the streets of California, and people won't know what I am. You know, I had.
But the cops know you're not white.
Yes.
The cops know you're not
absolutely,
white.
absolutely. They thought I was Cuban or Puerto Rican or something.
Do you think that white oppression like owns black on black crime?
It owns black on everybody other than white crime.
Yeah.
What I'm saying to that is that, you know, listen, you can send out the National Guard. You can send out the National Guard
Sure.
to clear a street so I can make an appearance at a church.
Yeah.
But you can't send the National Guard into Chicago where there's.
We don't want that calling around Chicago, Peter.
No, I don't want the National Guard there.
Yeah.
They need help.
Sure.
Help over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Help over there.
Chicago, in South Central, sure.
There's good people living in those communities that can't get out of that community.
That can't get out of the
You know,
house.
they
Peter.
can't get
That
out of
afraid to
that
get out of the house. That
You know,
sleep. That when a gun goes off, they sleep in the tub.
I don't want the National Guard there either. But the thing is that, you know, there's people that are working every single day that live in these neighborhoods.
Give me a couple of things if you're in a room full of black men, young and old, and we want to talk to them and say, listen, man, we can blame Whitey all day. Yeah, we can blame our ancestors for selling us off. We can blame them for captivating us and building this country on our backs. And we can play all that game, right? But at the end of the day, how do we get better from the inside? How do they? I always talk about self-scouting here, correct? Mm-hmm. Self-scouting is like they do in football during the bye week. You look at your team and you look at your people and you assess their weaknesses honestly. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. So what's that conversation going to be like?
I was always taught by any of my peers.
Sure.
Work hard at whatever you do.
Sure.
And you can have anything that you want.
It is dignity in every job.
And dignity in every job.
Every
hey,
job.
listen. Me?
Yeah.
My first job, I was picking weeds at a farm at 14 years old.
My father worked on a farm.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I took pride in that.
Yeah.
I took it. They call me Peter the Rototiller, because they put me on a rototiller, right?
Yeah.
They call me Rota. That's
Yeah.
what they call me.
Yeah.
They call me Rota. But
I
the
hear
thing
you.
is, I had respect. I mean,
Yeah.
I got on that rototiller and I did the best I could.
Yeah.
You know, as I got older and older, my grandfather and stuff, which wasn't he was my step grandfather. He raised me, and he says, I built this whole town with this hammer.
I hear you.
And he built Onset. His name was Joe Silva.
Yeah.
He built Onset pretty much by himself. But he was such a kind man that he.
I met him, right?
No, I don't think you met my grandfather. But he was such a kind man that he would build your house, and people wouldn't pay him, wouldn't pay him what they owed him. So he owed other people money to where he. But the thing was, he worked hard for his money, and before he passed away, him and my grandmother, they owned a bar.
Yeah,
they owned a bar where every big name star went to.
Sure. We talked about it off the air.
That's right. Jackie Robinson, Smokey Robinson,
the Four Tops, the Supremes,
all of these people went to the Blue Flame.
Yeah.
They went to my grandmother's house, to the Tavares, anybody that was in the area. What a good time that was. But they worked hard. But I tell you, most Cape Verdeans came to this country and they worked on whaling ships or they worked in the cranberry bogs.
Yeah.
And
in New Bedford they worked in the other industry. You're right.
The mills and mills,
absolutely sure.
And things, and
and they settled together.
They did settle together.
They were settled in Bridgewater. No. They were in Wareham. They were in Brockton. They were in Fall. Not really necessarily in Fall River, but they were enclaves, as most immigrants and most people who come. Yeah.
Believe it or not, I just found out this recently. I thought my grandmother my whole life was Portuguese.
Yeah, she was Irish, right?
She was Irish, born in Fall River, Massachusetts.
Fall River,
Mass. Margaret Malloy. Okay. I didn't know that. I thought my
grandmother... You're a Mick!
Yeah. But the thing is, we were taught to work hard and we can have anything that we wanted. And through my lifetime, I saw hard work.
Sure.
I saw people that worked hard and had the Cadillacs and the nice cars and the nice clothing and nice things. But I did go to California. I did live in California for 10 years. And that's where I seen oppression of African Americans kept in small little neighborhoods to where
don't cross that bridge, don't go past this line, boy.
Oh yeah. I did see it for a short minute.
But the African American neighborhoods and enclaves, they got to get better, right? Like the violence, the black on black crime is a sin.
It is.
It's an absolute sin. Something has to stop. We need to see a protest in front of Parkdale, Chicago, or Inglewood, Chicago, after a protest that looks like a Black Lives Matter protest.
You're going to see it.
Because if the Black Lives Matter, and we're going to take that and accept that and push that agenda, well then, Black lives gonna matter on the south side of Chicago. Black lives gonna matter in Bed-Stuy, and then South Central, and in the Fifth Ward in Houston, and in New Orleans too.
Absolutely.
If we're looking for lots of change, okay, we also have to change from within. I'd agree.
Absolutely.
Just like the 56-year-old uneducated guy on his clicker saying, "Look at these bleepers, looting, blah blah blah." They're gonna change too. It's got to be. I'm saying, how do we get the angry, white, middle-aged male to get on board with the social justice and the oppression and really look at it from an intelligent manner? I think that would mean a lot to them. In Ireland, the drug problem got so bad that the IRA and the UDF were executing drug dealers. They were executing them. Now, nobody should be judge, jury, and vigilante, but enough was enough. They have to take back control of their own neighborhoods. Does that start with the police? Does that start with them? Does it start with funding? Does it start with mission? What does it start with?
Something happened in the community where the community leaders had no power. They're powerless. I mean, something had to happen. If you had community leaders in some of these communities that are there, would stand up to some of these,
Yeah, I hear something, but You know,
We don't have that anymore.
Not everybody's going to be an athlete. Not everybody's going to be a rapper. Not everyone's going to be a president. Not everyone's going to be Oprah Winfrey. You know what I mean? You know, we need black teachers. We need black scientists. We need black, all of it.
We need Oprah to step up. We need
A lot of people. We need Michael Jordan to step his ass up.
We need people of color that have influence to step up. You know what? I mean, why can't we have a
Are we going to see an African American respected by the left, stand up and say, yeah, white people did this, reparations, blah, 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 slavery, segregation, separate but not equal. We've suffered from all of that. But we've also suffered from hurting one another. And that has to stop too. And who's going to have that tough conversation? Could a white person have it? Bobby Kennedy, maybe. I don't think so.
I thought,
Does that conversation have to be had?
but I was wrong. I thought Richard Steele was going to do that, and Richard Steele was the head of the RNC.
Yeah.
RNC. Now he's on CNN.
Sure.
As a commentator, but he was well respected by the left.
Sure.
He was the head of the RNC, and they brushed him aside because he started saying the things that you're saying now.
Yeah.
He started trying to bring the left and the right
Sure.
together.
Sure. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, the only person I could think of that could do it would be Obama.
But he's not respected by the left, I don't think. I mean, by the right.
I hate to
By
say
the
this,
right.
but is he black enough to do it? I love Barack Obama. He was an ambassador. He was a great example. But is he that guy? Does he have that Martin Luther King in him? Does he have that Malcolm X in him? Is he going to get down in the trenches and march?
He has been. He has
Sure.
been. Lately, he's been. Over the years, he's been quiet.
Sure.
Quiet. Now he's starting to come out. He's starting to do speeches. He's starting to do like little rallies.
Because each president's supposed to respect the next president for so many years before they start saying something like an unwritten code. Yeah. I mean, who's going to do it? Muhammad Ali's dead. James Brown.
They don't respect they because of Vietnam.
Who was the most respected black man? No, the left respects Muhammad Ali. Absolutely.
No, the left does. But I mean,
Time Man of the century,
Yeah, but
Time
I
Magazine
mean,
Man of the century.
I want to see not just the left, both, the right and the left.
No. Yeah, but who's going to talk to their community? Who's going to have that tough? Who's going to be that coach at Hoosiers? Like you said, Barack
Obama has to be. He's from Chicago. He's you know what I mean. Maybe his wife. Maybe his wife.
It could have been Michael Jordan, but it's never going to be.
It could have been Michael Jordan 10 years ago.
Sure. No, by his history, Republicans.
Listen. I'm gonna put it out there, and you guys might not agree. You might agree and
Totally.
everything, but somebody that's coming to the forefront for the left, and that is really, really putting it to people.
Yeah.
LeBron James.
Yeah. No, I hear you. He might be that man.
James.
He might be that man.
LeBron James is trying to talk wisdom to everybody.
But I don't want white friends. I don't need white friends. Blah blah blah. I thought that was a little much. But sometimes to get change have to be a little much, and not everybody is on their game 100% of the day when they got a microphone in their face either.
And not as many people have as many followers. What do you got? 43 million followers.
Oh, sure, yeah, no.
As LeBron James, and that's not just African American. Sure. That's right across the board.
We got a lot more to talk about this stuff, man. Keith, what's on your mind, brother?
We were talking, just like trying to think of other people, like Richard Sherman, maybe.
The Bennett brothers, Colin Kaepernick wins Amnesty's International Award this year, which is a world-respected organization that people who, cause change, alter corruption, alter ways of, it's a huge job. Nelson, there's a lot of unbelievable people have won this award. Is he worthy of it?
Absolutely, and time has proven him right.
Listen, the NFL bent their knee for Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, not that the majority of them did it.
No, but the commissioner did.
The commissioner took a knee?
No, he said he was sorry. They were wrong for what they did.
Yeah.
He didn't say Colin Kaepernick by name, but you don't have to be a genius to know who he's talking about.
I'd like to see more from him, usually, but I have very low expectations of the NFL commissioner.
Look,
Yeah.
Colin Kaepernick.
Yep.
Colin Kaepernick was playing at a high level, like you always say. He was playing at a high
Sure.
level.
Yeah.
He was doing what he loved.
Sure.
And it wasn't his advice to take the knee. It was his teammates' advice, and said it would be more respectable, which was a Marine Corps vet,
Yeah.
said, I would think it
To
would
take
be
a knee
to
is,
take a knee.
is respectful to the veterans.
It would be respectful.
Sure, you're right.
to-
You're
and he-
absolutely right.
Instead of just sitting down.
Instead of just
taking
sitting
the knee.
down.
And Lynch's mother, who the most famous American athlete killed in war over recent memory, said his son would have been taking a knee right in the side of Colin Kaepernick.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so he does that, and he loses his job, and not only he loses his livelihood,
Sure.
basically. So
Well, that Nike contract took care of that.
oh yeah, hey.
Right, we're not gonna have a fundraiser for Colin Kaepernick's finances. He's doing just fine. Like he said, he's looking better and better as history is judging him with this.
And Colin Kaepernick has done nothing of violence. He hasn't promoted any kind of violence. He's only taken a knee, as far as I can see.
I got you.
As far as I heard, so that's peaceful protest, and he still is hated by a lot of Americans.
If the Ku Klux Klan can walk down Main Street, then Colin Kaepernick can take a knee. It is black.
Absolutely.
It is white. It is what's right. Keith, you were great today. Peter, you were great, my man, on the wheel. So it's black. It's white. It's what right. I am the Hurricane. We're keeping it real. Stay tuned for episode 3 next Monday. That's a great job, fellas. That's a great.
Podcast City.
Get on it.